Listen to me. We don't want to kill any of you. But trust me, we will. Wake them up a little!
This whole thing is pretty much done. We're more ghosts than people.
You have got to keep faith. They will not crush us.
Good old Dutch. My best friend. You know how we met? Pair of hucksters trying to rob each other. Back in 78 or thereabouts.
You have to love yourself a fire. It's one of the blessings. Sure, we can have fire. And we can have the knowledge of fire. But with that comes the knowledge of everything. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a robbery.
Sons of Dutch. Makes us brothers. Sometimes, brothers make mistakes.
You'll never change. I know that.
All of you venerate savagery. And you will die savagely.
Get out here! Stay strong. Stay with me.
Alright, welcome to Handy with the Steel Heroes and Hardships campaign in the Old West in 1866. I believe this is chapter 16, 15, one of the two. I'm going to read the daily paper for this day so we can keep track of what time it is and what day it is and all that stuff. This will be the last session in this day, I think. So let me get this up real quick. You probably have all seen this, but alright, the LeClaire Leisure. It's Friday, May 7th, 1866. Gundy laid to rest. Sheriff Gunderston was laid to rest Thursday afternoon. Reverend Carson's words were fitting and kind. The whole town commiserated to see off this affable servant of the law. Notable speakers were Bill Tucker and Kate, the Madam of the Jewel. Next of kin has been wired in Texas. Please respectfully mourn our fallen sheriff in your own way. And then the next one is Captain Eugene Walker preparing expedition for justice. And then the last article is Bill Tucker appointed sheriff. And I've read those numerous times, so I won't go into all that. Alright, so today it's late afternoon, 4 or 5 p.m., and we'll start at the Jewel as Doc Darrow has come in after his own expedition out of town, which if you saw the last chapter you would know is in search for Taggart Thompson with the sheriff and the deputy. Go ahead. What's the Jewel right now? What's going on in the Jewel? It is known, there's been a rumor, not rumor, but pretty much everyone knows that a man fitting the bill that the Buffalo Soldiers have been waving around was caught by Deputy Nelson after he supposedly trampled a helpless woman on the road. And that is the hot news of the day.
Figure it's late afternoon now, after everything else that's happened today. I think Kate has heard this news, and it's definitely put her in a foul mood. Even fouler for the fact she's caught here. Business is at that time of the day where things are at an upswing. She certainly can't excuse herself to run out and find all the details that she wants. She is looking around the room, a little snippish with her girls, but she's not usually. A little short even with some of the customers. She sees the doctor walk in and smiles a little bit. Doctor, I heard you had yourself a little outing with the sheriff. I'm glad to see you made it back in one piece.
And the doctor will come in, take off his hat, and hey, it's not from lack of trying that I didn't come back in pieces. He pulls up a seat. I tell you, the lawmen are crazy.
Say again? What's going on out?
Well, went to find some fellow that was missing, and sheriff asked me to come out just in case he was wounded. He weren't. But then they fought a bloody bear on the way back for no particular reason at all.
A bear, you say? Well, she looks him up and down. I hope all your pieces are intact, for my business sake.
I took the appropriate human action of pulling away when I saw the animal. The other two charged right on, so pieces are all in correct order. Last I checked.
Well, I am glad that the town has not lost any valuable friends of the jewel. That sounds quite the mad tale. A missing man, a missing... Tell me about this Taggart, you said?
Yes, Taggart. Then he looks to Albert for a moment. Pardon me, lad. I'm quite parched. You mind fetching me my favourite?
Yeah, suppose I can. And he heads up and grabs everything to get your drink.
Kate turns to him and says, the top shelf stuff, she says, giving the doctor a nod.
Albert, he's been kind of quiet as usual, especially with Kate's way, kind of letting her be, letting her blow some steam off, just waiting and watching with an ear open like always. He heads up for the top shelf. What would it be? I assume like a whiskey of some sort?
Of course. The hardest whiskey you have.
Yeah. He's never happy to serve whiskey because it's all too common, but nonetheless, he fills your glass and kind of slides on over. There you go. About the best we got.
Your best will have to do. And he takes a swig and looks at Kate. Do you trust this boy? I'm looking at Albert.
More than just about anybody, she says, which may not sound like much, but truth is, Albert's one of the few people in this world I count as a truth.
There's actually a bit of a smile. Oh, I didn't think you had the heart left in you.
I know which side my bread is buttered on, anyway.
Dora will lean in, looking about, making sure that other people are rather engaged.
Come, join me at the back table, where it's a little less noisy.
That would be quite agreeable. He pick up his doctor's bag and come with Kate to wherever the back table is.
Albert gives them both a nod and gets back to kind of cleaning some glasses and serving drinks.
Albert, if you get a chance, you're welcome to join us. You can stick Clem at the bar. She needs the practice.
He kind of looks over everything, noticing it's pretty quiet for the most part. People are busy and gives a nod. All right. Suppose I might as well head on up. He heads back with you.
So Kate takes him to kind of the VIP area, motions to a comfortable chair. Regale me, Doctor. I am in quite a mood today, and I think a story of high adventure would lift my spirit.
Well, we'll sit down and pull out a cigar. Do you mind?
Of course not.
He will actually produce his own ashtray and quickly light it with a match. And the cigar, not the ashtray, of course. And, well, Few things. This Taggart individual, he is a problem of a mutual business acquaintance you and I seem to have.
Oh, who's that?
Jessa.
Ah, Mrs. Dunn. I wasn't aware that you did business with Mrs. Dunn.
A minor deal. I will not expose the business. It's up to her if she wishes to speak with you about it. But we have some arrangements. And this Taggart fellow, he was apparently of interest to her. But what was more interesting than him going missing was the cause of the disappearance itself.
Kate leans in and puts her chin on her back of her hand. Oh, do tell.
When the man was found, he was found in the company of a few strange gentlemen who, after our two brave law officers fought off that great beast of a bear, revealed themselves to be officers of the federal government.
Kate raises an eyebrow. I can't imagine what their relation to Mrs. Dunn would be.
The kind of relation that would put Mrs. Dunn behind bars for a long time.
Then she... Go ahead.
I was going to say Albert kind of turns a bit of an eye to Kate as, this is concerning. Kind of just off to the side, legs crossed, leaning against the wall. And
Well, as you said yourself, I'm not sure how you became aware, but I have my interest in Mrs. Dunn. I consider her a potential investment. It's important for me to not invest poorly. There's really nothing that bothers me more. How serious are these accusations? How much are they going to be able to back them up?
Oh, they may, if they're able to use Taggart to do so. Which is convenient in our case here, if you have a mutual interest with Mrs. Dunn. And by proxy myself, I suppose.
I do have an interest in Mrs. Dunn, but to be honest, I haven't made up my mind one way or the other. I think she could benefit me and I could certainly help her, but the woman strikes me as a bit rash.
She is. However, I've been working with the miss. She can be a bit straightforward, a bit bold, aye, but she's not come with any trouble with my money. And you and I have always been well arranged, I would say. So, would you doubt my judgment?
Oh, well, certainly you seem to have a sound mind and reason, particularly for a little piece of dirt town like this. I was quite pleased to discover you when you first made my acquaintance. I knew that you were someone that would prove useful to me, and the same could be said in the reverse. So, still, okay, so there's federal agents here who have an interest in Mrs. Dunn. Are they in town now?
Not at present. They're resting on the outside of town. They're trying to use our sheriff and, what's it? That lad's name that he works with, Arthur Sexton? Drifter came into town.
Yeah, I haven't heard too much about him, but go on.
Apparently those two are being included in this scheme, and me, though they are not aware of the relationship I already have, which is another interesting part. You see, a lot of this plan that they have of ruining our potential business, my actual business partner, Mrs. Dunn, depends on Taggart. And I, gracious as I am, said I would be happy to keep him safe at my practice. In the meantime.
Ah, I see. You surprise me, Doctor, she says, raising an eyebrow. I suppose something could befall Mr. Taggart there. Things happen, and as you have said on multiple occasions, you're not yourself a man of action.
Oh, no. I did not come to this land of dirt and dust to come die in it. I came here to make money hand over fist. Well, that said, making money hand over fist can make you a target for all kinds of people. Robbers, burglars, thieves, even murderers, and I'm not particularly careful where I put my spare key. Anyone who knows me knows where it could be found. Pretty easily, in fact.
I see. Well, as you are one established ally of mine here, and Mrs. Dunn is a potential. Let me just say, if it comes to a time when you need to know which way the wind is blowing so that you can act one way or another, come see me. I wouldn't want you to get caught up in any wind poorer aftermath of whatever it is she's gotten herself involved in if she can't get herself out of it. Are you sure you don't want to give me any more details? It's kind of hard for me to know how to help if I don't know exactly how you're involved with her.
Well, let us say that I receive a percentage of the business for services rendered.
I see, and this is an ongoing service?
It is. Lucrative. You'd be surprised how often miners get hurt.
I see. Would there be any evidence of your involvement?
It's a contract deal. It's completely legal in this county, as far as I'm aware anyway. American law is strange, though.
That it is. I don't concern myself too much about the law as long as I'm certain I won't get caught. All right. Well, I do appreciate knowing about this. I'm going to have to think some on what, if anything, is to be done about it. A lot of times the best course of action is to do nothing and to, well, spin the situation in a better light.
Well, I would make a proposal if I thought you had the right personnel for it.
Well, a lot of folk come through here. Why don't you tell me what you were thinking?
Our man Taggart has a carnal interest in that he and I are kindred spirits. He does like women. Hard not to when you see him. Beautiful creatures. I did say I would come by to procure one for him. If they were to leave and he were not to, say, be alive when they did, I would not make any fuss about it.
Well, I'm not sure that you're aware because I do have a reputation as being a little cold-blooded. But I don't want to put any of my girls at risk of the law. If there's no way to look like a guilty party in this, she shakes her head, I won't be having that.
Breaking and entering. Take a few of my things. Make it look like he was killed in a struggle. Simple.
I see. Well, I may be able to help you in that. And she bites her lip. Do you know anything about what's going on outside? I know that they brought a prisoner into town, and the man from the wanted poster that them Buffalo soldiers been showing around. And I am just dying to get the details on that.
I'm afraid I've heard bits and pieces, mostly what you've heard, but depending on the circumstances, I might know more in a while. They might call me over to take a look at the lad.
Well, you know, folks do get, cut up some, wounded in these situations where they're arresting dangerous folk. Maybe you could make a courtesy call just to check in on the deputy and whoever else was involved.
I could do that. What would you want to know to say I was able to make this call?
I want a confirmation that it is the man from the wanted papers, and what he was caught doing. The circumstances of it all.
Wait, I could figure that out. And it was young Nelson that caught him.
That's the word. I'm as surprised as you are. As a matter of fact, I saw him just this morning over at the Dunn Manor. He came talking to Mrs. Dunn about some concern he had about that niece of hers and a horse that was supposedly stolen.
You guys can give me a streetwise roll.
All of us?
Yeah, anybody who can hear this, yeah. Oh my god. All of you realize that you did hear that it wasn't just Nelson, it was also Mary Dunn that was seen leading the horse with Sticky Joe thrown across it into town.
Mm.
And there was the body of a woman was also with them.
Yes, and Kate looks at Albert. Didn't we hear that there was a body involved? A woman died, somehow caught up in this.
Yeah, something about trampling.
And that niece of Mrs. Dunn's was involved. She looks at the doctor. This is just between what you're telling me about federal officers and this fella who I'm assuming might have been working for Mrs. Dunn being caught, and Mary Dunn being in town after all the things she was accusing Mrs. Dunn of. Makes me might nervous for Mrs. Dunn. That's a lot of accusations coming from a lot of different directions.
Yeah. If I may, he kind of stands up straight, proper, as if, to ask if you don't mind him interjecting.
Of course not, Albert. Speak your mind.
I'm gonna be honest, Kate. This doesn't sound good. After everything, like you said, it makes me mighty nervous. If she's in this much trouble, is it really worth the coin of, going after her aid?
It certainly puts me less in mind to stick my neck out very far, but I need to know everything I can know about the situation before I know what I can do about it. So, Doctor, if you don't mind, could you go and get the account from Nelson? Get any details? Who's this woman that was killed and why?
I suppose we've got even more cause to go now that there's been a corpse. He will stand and finish his whiskey.
You should, Doctor, that no matter how all this blows out, I have your back.
I have no mind worried about that. If all it falls through Mrs. Dunn, all I had was a business contract with her. Can't really hold me accountable for her actions, can they?
Certainly not. A man after my own heart.
Well, I will go and speak with the young deputy. He put his cigar out and put his ashtray in the bag. I will likely return to give you that information as well as seek more intoxicating pleasures.
Of course, I'll make sure that my Anastasia has, that her dance card has been emptied.
That's what I like to hear. France is wonderful every time of year. And look to Albert, nod to him, and good day to you.
Of course. Have a good one, Doctor.
Kate nods as he kind of heads back down the stairs, and she looks at Albert. This does concern me, Albert.
Yeah, he is. He's always got a bit of a semi-dour face, but he's definitely looking pretty serious.
Yeah, none of this sounds good, Kate. You sure it's still worth pursuing this?
You know I hate throwing good money after bad, but I've already invested some time and effort in this, so I'll see what, if anything, can be salvaged.
I certainly don't like the idea, though.
He kind of almost looks towards the stairs a bit, makes sure the doctor's quite away.
Involving the girls in something like that doesn't seem like a good idea. You're right on that part.
Yeah, I don't know if I feel right about it. Yeah, good in the bedroom, but they ain't hired killers.
You never know with Clem, but it's not worth the risk.
I don't know if that's a side of Clem I really want to see flare up again, if you know my meaning.
I don't think anyone needs to.
Well, we'll just have to see. And I think with that we can kind of fade out.
Okay. I fade out over to the jail.
Reset my voice. Albert, like all the way down.
I feel you, Aki.
Yeah.
I dig Albert's voice. I don't know that I could do that. That's a interesting.
I try to
voice.
drop it pretty deep.
Yeah.
Drop it low, as they say.
Yeah,
Drop it like it's
Albert's
hot.
great at dropping it low. Gotta make that side money at the whorehouse.
The good thing about having one character is you don't have to worry about switching the voice up anymore.
Yeah, right.
Everyone just needs their main character to be killed.
Yeah, there you go. Easy. Simple.
Kate gets laryngitis permanently.
Albert will like die getting in front of a bullet for Kate or something. That's the way he'd end up going. I know it. Oh, he's too good. The poor boy. That was like my favorite line of his entry. It was like, he wants to do the right thing, but he's just too good at doing the wrong thing.
He doesn't have a sheriff to browbeat him into doing the right thing anymore.
Yeah.
I guess maybe Tucker would.
Tucker ain't doing that.
Yeah. Tucker's just like
Kidding me?
idiot.
That's no Gundy.
Oh, there we go.
I was gonna say, I was like, oh, are we all?
Yeah, I was confused. Okay, there we go. All right, let me see.
Gotta wash Albert out of my brain.
All right. The doctor makes his way over to the jail as the sun is starting to go down outside, and inside right now is Nelson and Mary. What have you guys been doing since you brought Sticky in?
Yeah, and would we have already kind of sat down and talked with anyone, or is it pretty much just us with him for now?
Yeah, just you with him so far. The mayor hasn't. The mayor gave you a very brief nod. He was talking to some lawyers or something from Denver and couldn't be disturbed exactly. And pretty much you've kind of sequestered yourself in here. The sheriff's not back yet. He's lingering outside of town just for now.
I think Mary was probably kind of broody the whole way back. Not really happy with the outcome of the situation for sure. Not sure that she could have done anything different. As they get back into town, and head back in here, and things start to get settled. They probably get sticky in the cell.
Yeah, Nelson leaves him tied up when he kind of just tosses him into whatever kind of bunk there is.
Yeah, he's sleeping right now. Sticky is.
Nelson, he's I done heard that there is not just a reward on this fella, but a very, very sizable one.
Really?
What's the number? Was it $5,000?
There's been reports of 5,000 or 500.
Either way, it's a lot of money for Mary. Well, that sure would go a long way. I don't really. I mean, I got every penny that I had left after I sold the remainder of our stock and rebuilding the barn and a little bit of the house. And without my aunt's support, I really don't have no way to get things running again. I ain't happy about all this, and I sure do wish Rosie was all right, but dang it, if that money, it sure would come in handy.
Yeah, Nelson he's been in not a great mood, kind of a little bit dour, especially after Rosie died. He's been giving a stink eye over towards Joe the whole time, even after he went to sleep. But he's kind of pulled out one of little stashes of whiskey that presumably Gundy used to keep around, or whoever would have one around, and he's kind of poured to me just a small bit. I mean, I don't know what I'd do with that kind of money, to be honest. So, as far as I can consider it, I mean, kind of motions his hand to her with the glass in still. It's all you've been through. I mean, you can have at it if they want to give you a bounty.
Oh, I couldn't take your share. That wouldn't be right.
He shakes his head. Nah. Like I said, I wouldn't know what to do with it.
You could invest it in a horse farm, she says with a little smile.
Nelson smiles at that. All right, I guess that's a fair enough way of doing it. Quite a hefty investment then. There we go.
All right then. She holds out her hand. We'll call it
shakes it.
A partnership then. But I don't want to be just handing this fella over to the Buffalo soldiers. No. I don't know them, and I don't trust people I don't know, especially these days. Let's make sure things are settled right before that happens.
He nods. Yeah, I really don't know how it's gonna go. I mean, he kind of looks over. I assume that there's a kind of darker corner of the room where they've presumably set Rosie wrapped in whatever they had. Presumably they'd have something like a sheet or something.
Sure.
And his face kind of drops a little bit again. I certainly hope he gets what he deserves, though. In fact, I know. I'll make sure of it.
Mary winces a little, but her eyes go to the Rosie's body, which is kind of wrapped in the mule blanket. Oh, I guess we can sell that mule and make sure Rosie gets a proper burial.
And just kind of at that time, there's a knock on the door.
Yeah, Nelson kind of turns. He had finally kind of started to relax a bit, and Mary sees him tense up quite a lot as he sets the whiskey in there again. He's only been sipping in it very lightly, so kind of. I hope that's the sheriff. He stands up and heads over, opens the door cautiously.
You open it, and it is not the sheriff. It is actually the doctor and undertaker. So happens.
Well, hello there, lad. You had quite a bit of business.
it was it Mr. Arrow, was it, or?
Dr. Darrow, but yes, close enough. May I come in?
Yeah. I suppose you could. You must have heard what happened. I take it.
Oh, I had heard there was, you came into town, you and the last year as well, with, that fella there, dangerous outlaw, and, unfortunately a corpse. I was here on both accounts.
Nelson nods, kind of solemnly. Yeah. Wasn't much we could do. Yeah, come in. And he kind of opens the door a bit wider and welcomes Dr. Darrow in.
Dr. Darrow comes in, sees Mary, and tips his hat. Ma'am, Dr. Darrow. He walk over and hold out his hand.
Mary's kind of leaned up against the wall, arms folded across her chest. She leans forward to take his hand in a most unladylike fashion. Her hands are rough and calloused, and her grip is very firm. Good to meet you, Doctor. That's Rosie over there. She's gonna need a burial, I guess. I don't really know what's involved in that. When my daddy died, well, there weren't much to bury, so she shrugs.
And after Darrow pulls his hand back, strong grip, and he kind of wipe his hand on his chest. Well, as far as the particulars on it, a lot of it is beautifying, making sure the corpse is presentable if people intend to have an open casket, but you don't need to hear all this after such a recent passing. Go over and look over the corpse to see if it's started to show any signs of decay or anything like that yet.
I mean, rigor mortis is fully set in, but otherwise it's pretty beaten up. Just by a cursory glance, you can see that she has deep abrasions to her head and probably the rest of her body. You don't see any gunshot wounds or really any blood except on her, around her mouth, on her chin, on her lips, around her nose and ears. So that
Nelson would have tried to wipe up like some of the dirt and dust and stuff and closed her eyes and everything. So
yeah, something happened. It seems like a trauma. You would probably put this in, the category of falling off a horse or whatever.
That's not the best way to go. Not quick. Looked painful. Shame. He will look over and how about him?
Yeah, Nelson kind of nods. Yeah, monster. Trampled the poor lady. She was trying to get away. Apparently something, he thinks about it, about to kind of continue. It doesn't matter. He ran her down. Trampled her with his horse. I tried to get there in time, but it was too late. But we got him in, at least.
It is strange that a horse will run down someone, but sometimes the man riding the horse is a bigger monster.
Well, not that pretty hardly, actually.
That weren't that horse's fault, Mary says, and she seems very, affected by even the implication that it could be blamed. It didn't deserve what it got, that's for sure.
Almost looks a little bit sad, but it doesn't faze him too much. He kind of, yeah, I suppose so.
And this fella here is, that's the fella the Buffalo Soldier's looking for, yeah?
Yeah, what'd you say his name was, Mary? Joe, right?
She shrugs. I don't really know his whole name. They call him Sticky up there at Mrs. Dunn's place.
Sticky then, yeah.
Yeah, Mrs. Dunn will know. She's, I think they go way back.
You look over. the hell kind of a name is Sticky?
Oh, he's always trying to tell me. Has a different story all the time. She shakes her head. I don't know what to believe. Honestly, I don't know what to believe about anything. And she shrugs.
Nelson kind of walks back over and sits down. Kind of pulls another glass out from a drawer nearby. Some whiskey, Dr. Darrow?
Oh, don't mind if I do. Walk over and
Pour him a couple of shots worth into the glass and pass it over.
So, Doctor, you know Mrs. Dunn, my aunt?
Familiar to an extent.
You weren't, by any chance, the one who came around and handled the body of her husband when he passed, was he?
Oh, yes, Mr. Dunn. Yes, I remember him. Aye, it was a shame of that.
Mary glances over at the corpse of Rosie again and then quickly back to the doctor. There weren't nothing peculiar about that you noticed, was there?
And just to clarify, he was killed by burning, correct?
She's talking about Mary's dad was killed by fire, and you would probably know that. But Mrs. Dunn's husband, I think he died some other way. Tet, how did he die?
I thought they died pretty much in the same manner. That was my understanding.
I thought it was
burning.
Okay. Well, maybe they were out working together. Who knows?
It was something. Unless I don't know, Matt would have to interject. But
Well, we can gloss over that. I'm sure the doctor would anyway.
Yeah. Nothing seemed too peculiar about it, given the circumstances. Won't say something like that happens all the time, of course, because I don't get those kind of patients in every day, but...
Well, all right. I guess... I need some answers, but I guess I'm not going to be getting them from you, she says, and she gives a little half-hearted smile.
What precise answers you're looking for? Do you think it was intentional?
I don't know. Can I get like some sort of charm roll from the doctor to see how Mary's affected by him? Like, she's not really untrusting, so I don't want her to be like uncharacteristically untrusting. Maybe persuasion or something.
Yes, we can do that.
And she told Nelson like all the stuff that Rosie suggested, I assume.
Oh, she absolutely did. Yep. Yeah, they discussed some of it when Nelson
I think
showed
we
up.
talked about before a bit. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So he's very likable right now.
Holy crap!
Oh, yeah. So Mary,
No.
yeah. Mary's just spilling her guts. Then she says, "Oh, yeah. Before she died, Rosie was telling me all kinds of things. I'd run away from home because Aunt Jessa locked me in my room and threatened to kill my horse. And well, I said, Rosie, let's get out of here. And she ran away with me. But then when I woke up and I sobered up, she said she weren't going back. She said that Aunt Jessa was a terrible lady and that she'd done all sorts of things, that she'd done killed her own husband and killed my father and maybe even some of the miners. I don't know, but it was so hard to, I was mad. I was mad as hell. I'm sorry, all beans. I didn't mean to swear, but I was mad as all get out at my aunt, but I never thought of her that way, capable of those things. And I told Rosie she could get out of town, but I was going to stay here. This is my home. And then this fella, and she points at Sticky, he comes riding up, and I know he works for my aunt, and...
Nelson nods at that. Well, hell, he said it himself, and she'd sent him. Get rid of Rosie, bring you back. He damn well would have killed me if he could have.
That's true. He did try to kill Nelson, and he said it was on my aunt's orders, and he just runned Rosie down. Runned her right down, and I guess I went from thinking she was some sort of crazy, hysterical lady to thinking there might be something to what she was saying.
And the doctor throws back the whiskey, kind of takes it all in, and that is definitely concerning. Well, it's strange with people. We think we know them, especially family, but it turns out we don't know them at all. People can be capable of very strange and intricate schemes, terrible things.
I never
I'm not
will.
endorsing the idea, of course, per se, but just if this is true, if this is what you're saying you believe it, I'm sorry to hear for your circumstances, ma'am.
I don't want to believe it's true. I don't know. I know there's something going on. Just
Oh no.
thinking that my
Everything
aunt's
we saw.
a cold-blooded killer. I'm still wrestling with it up here, she says, and she taps her temple. If my pa died, I wouldn't have to deal with any of this. Life was so much simpler then.
Yeah. Everything gets complicated after that, doesn't it?
It sure
Kind of
does.
looking off a ways.
Well, it is a budding study, but if you ever need someone to express this concern with, talk through mental state, I am very minorly trained in such things.
I didn't know people got trained for that. You just seemed like a real easy to talk to fella.
Well, being a doctor is working with the body and mind at times. Again, my practice is well known in town. If you happen to need someone to speak with or need some medication, please feel free to stop by. I'll be happy to help you.
Well, I sure do appreciate that. I do feel a lot better even just talking this out.
And as far as you and the wounded one there, the prisoner, Sticky, if he likes to be called that, any wounds, injuries?
Nelson shakes his head. Nah, I had him at gunpoint. He was... Well, he come along after he realized there was no way out.
Yeah, I think we're all right. Only thing, the person that really got hurt was the horse, and that's, I guess, not really a person.
Unfortunately, I'm a doctor, not a veterinarian. But he stands up. Well, I will go ahead and take this off your hands with your leave, Deputy Ward. Imagine you don't wish to have a corpse sitting around in your office.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Yeah, we'll find some way to cover the payment. There's a mule I can sell.
I always have use for a mule.
Well, then you can take that too. Might make it easier to transport poor Rosie.
Very good. We'll work out a proper contract on it later if you have the time. Again, you can find my practice pretty easily. It's not far from the outside of town, a bit away. I like to keep myself away from the... I don't want to say the riffraff, but you know how it can get here sometimes lately.
Yeah, it certainly seems like it, huh?
It's getting crazier every day. He looks around and... You've turned out to be quite the lawbringer, Deputy Ward. I am sure the sheriff would be proud of you. I'm sure he might also be proud if you considered taking his position, huh?
There's like a very hollow laugh and an even hollower smile from Nelson. Yeah, I suppose. I'm not interested in something like that. I mean...
Mary looks up at Nelson with obvious, admiration shining in her eyes. I think you'd make a fine sheriff, Nelson.
He almost brightens a little bit, but it's kind of dour look still on his face. Nah. I got a long way to go, I think. This is one step, I guess, on the road, right? But, still got a long road.
You've already got 2 votes, lad. Might as well see how many more you can get, and he will pat Nelson on the shoulder.
Thanks, Doctor, for everything.
Of course. Well, I will leave the 2 of you to that fine whiskey. You need to talk with Kate at the Jewel about getting some of that, I would think, Nelson. What brand is that?
Oh, yeah, he kind of pulls the bottle over, not really being sure himself. He grabbed it from someone else's stash and kind of looks at it and kind of points it over towards the doctor. Hey, it seems like fun enough stuff, I suppose.
I'll make a mental note of that. Actually, a physical one. And you pull out a quick notepad, write the brand down. Right, enough of me then. I'll take this corpse and be off.
Thank you. Be careful on your way. Never know nowadays.
Aye, good day to you both. He will
Good day.
tip his hat and carry the corpse.
Yeah, you load the corpse onto the mule. Are you taking it back to your place, or are you going to go back and talk to Kate?
I have a stop to make, but it will be going back to my place, yeah.
Okay. Are you going back to the Jewel at all?
Yes.
Okay. Let's do that since we're still waiting for the late person. Okay, give me a second.
Major Peck.
Mm-hmm. Might as well do that. You return back to the Jewel. It's pretty much in the same state as it was before. There's not a lot of people out tonight, probably due to all the hubbub about the murder of a innocent woman. But you find Kate and Albert standing in the sitting in the main room.
Yeah, the doctor will come in and tip his hat again and kind of immediately point to the back room area once more.
Yeah, Kate'll nod somewhat eagerly and look at Albert. Let's have Clem get some more practice at the bar, Albert.
Yeah. I'll get it all set up.
I kind of let her go on her way and grab Clem and get her set up, make sure she doesn't forget to grab the guns this time, and kind of head back on up only a moment after the other 2 are probably seated. Takes his spot by the wall again and listens.
Well, I have a triumphant return for you. Have a seat.
Oh, so what was this all about?
Well, as it turns out, to answer your biggest question, it is the man from the posters. First name of Sticky is what he likes to be called. And he just kind of shrugs.
Kate makes kind of a sour face. Is that so? So it is Mrs. Dunn's man.
That is what I hear. He leaned back and he rode down some poor young lass who works there and crushed her. Abrasions all about.
A young lass who... Well, when I was there weren't no help. I guess that could explain why. So why? Speaking of why, what was the reason?
According to what the young deputy said, it was because he was told to ride her down and bring back the niece.
Really? That seems a bit extreme.
Albert shoots a bit of a look over to Kate, like, this is Exactly, kind of thing I was worried about, and but his face, like the whole while, like his eyes kind of shift towards her, but his face kind of stays pretty stone solid the whole time as he looks back to the doctor.
For a man who wants to be called Sticky, I wouldn't be surprised about anything he does. But if it was an order, that is questionable.
Certainly, certainly. I don't really see a way for Mrs. Dunn's reputation, however, to remain untarnished throughout this.
I'm beginning to question it as well, but untarnished and behind bars are two separate occasions.
Oh, of course, of course. Unfortunately, untarnished and behind bars might be equally important as far as her usefulness to me goes. She sort of puts a finger to her chin as she thinks. So, this Sticky, he ran down the servant girl and tried to bring back the niece. And the niece, I heard a bit of this while I was over at the Dunn Manor, had apparently run away on a horse that Mrs. Dunn said was hers, and Mary claimed was her own. You didn't happen to... well, I guess you wouldn't have seen any horses about, and that's probably besides the point now. Definitely something to ponder.
It is certainly a family dispute in that regard. The young woman seems like she's slowly developing into a basket case. I offered to speak with her about the matter, but she seems quite distressed. Rightfully so, given all the circumstances, I wager.
Yeah, that's right. So, any reason other than fleeing with the niece? Was there any other reason they said that the servant girl was run down?
Not that I can tell. Well, I suppose Sticky and his employer's reasons are their own in that regard.
I suppose. Is the doctor deliberately not mentioning the whole thing about the murder? And the
suspicions.
Yeah. Or did the doctor just not literally remember that or think about it?
I'm happy to roll something.
Well, I just want to know if right, is it detect lies or detect didn't pay attention to that part?
Just do detect lies.
All right.
And I guess I'm doing deception.
Sure.
Oh boy.
This is Albert's job.
Yeah.
He's there to catch that kind of shit.
Not today, Albert.
Oh shit!
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Ooh.
Well then, I do hope for Mrs. Dunn's sake that she is able to clear her name and the rapscallion they have in prison gets his justice. As far as Mr. Taggart goes, I don't think I can risk one of my girls coming across the law that way, and I don't think I want to traumatize any of them by making them have blood on their hands. That's what I'm here for. I take care of them. I protect them, but that doesn't mean I can't help you. Let me think about it some, and I might find an appropriate individual or situation.
Well, think nothing of it if you can't. Just more of a means to, well, endear yourself to the potential new partner. But I know that you're considering not going into business with to begin with now with all the hubbub, but I don't blame you. I'll make no moves without... well, no moves on my own, I should say.
Well, as usual, I appreciate being kept apprised of any developments. And like I said, I haven't quite made up my mind about Mrs. Dunn. I may decide that she is still useful. I need to see how this shakes out, and I'm not going to burn any bridges just yet.
Well, if you don't burn any bridges, and if she capsizes on herself, I do own a 15% stake in the mines. I know nothing about mining, so I might need a potential business partner to help me learn it, were, say, she to fall into a state which no longer owns the proceedings.
Kate raises her eyebrows. 15%, Doctor? My, that's unexpected and impressive.
Medicine is highly sought around these parts, Mrs. Kate.
Well, that's good to know. Because you may not be aware of this, but regardless of who owns a mine, they still produce valuable resources. And so if that mine ownership her percentage should fall under, bad times or change hands, you'll still be a rich man, it sounds like.
Aye, and if I find an appropriate partner, that could be a rich man or woman.
Indeed. Well, thank you so much, Doctor, for running that little errand for me. I was presumptuous, and I had Anastasia go and bathe herself, so she's nice and fresh and waiting for you. And she indicates to a room, whether you want her now or a little bit later in the day. I'll make sure that she's all alone.
It'll have to be later, unfortunately. Duty calls. I do have a corpse that I have to bring back and prepare for the undertaking. I would hate to touch fine Anastasia with corpse flesh on my fingertips. Ugh.
Oh, I do appreciate that.
We'll stand, and if you should need any more from me, I will be back later. Though you best get me early, because I'll be quite inebriated and intoxicated and inured as the night goes on.
Of course, I wouldn't have it any other way. And she gets up and, kind of gives a little bob to him, and it's a gesture of goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
Albert tosses him a nod as well.
He tips his head. Kate, Mr. Graham, and he will proceed to leave.
Albert kind of waits and watches and looks to Kate. A bit grim.
15%. Well, it's his loyalty to Mrs. Dunn certainly makes a little more sense now. That is a highly that much money, that much stake in a mine would be highly conducive to cooperation.
Yeah, certainly does make sense then. But you're not concerned about the other part? About this Joe fella of yours?
Well, I do hate throwing good money after bad, and it burns me right up that I went through all that effort to save his ass, and he throws it right in the fire. And she looks really angry, like she's been holding this in. It's not that he don't deserve whatever's coming to him, but inconveniencing me after all that he's already done.
Yeah. I mean, damn, Kate. I mean, really. With this Jessa Dunn and everything, and him, send him off to run a woman down. That just doesn't make sense.
It don't make sense. I mean, why not just let her go? I think there might be part of the story the doctor didn't manage to get.
Yeah, let me see. Cause is there like a check I could to try and kind of get an idea of maybe why she would send someone for that kind of thing? I don't know if
You could try investigation.
Alright, yeah.
That might be a pretty difficult one,
He's,
though.
he's the kind of guy for this kind of thing. I guess it makes sense. Like what reason she might have for getting rid of this woman. I think some things might pop to mind, but
Yeah, I think Kate's just like, well, I think it would just boil down to secrets. I don't know what them secrets would be.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah, I would do a TN 18 on that, so I guess Kate could know that, yeah. I think that maybe she has an idea that somebody who works so closely...
what she would do?
works so closely with Jessa might know some things.
Right, so many of her informants are servants or, people that are kind of invisible. Yeah, there you go.
Exactly. Makes sense. Albert would never think of that. He doesn't tell a soul nothing, so...
So that would be my assumption. And,
Maybe you're right.
but what with the doctor and what he was implying about his services, it might be something serious indeed.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. I mean, the things he's implying, the things, he thought to do for her, I don't think he'd offer that kind of thing if, I don't know, maybe if she hadn't done something of the sort before. You never know.
Well, with that servant girl dead, we may never know.
That might be for the best.
And will be for the best to not know only. And she holds up a finger if no one else knows either.
He nods at that. That's sure enough. Let's just hope no one follows that connection with Joe back to you.
I don't see how that'd be possible. And I got that covered in the back of my mind regardless. You know me, Albert. I don't take a risk unless I got a back door out of that house, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I know, Kate. A lot of things going down nowadays. I'm not too happy with any of it, really.
Well, the thing about chaos like this, about things getting all topsy-turvy, things getting all shaken around is, well, opportunities do present themselves to the perceptive and those ambitious enough to grab them. So that's what I aim to do. I'm going to find the silver lining in this cloud.
Well, sounds you might have almost literally with that mine, if only it were silver.
It's true. I'm not really interested in being a miner myself, but I mine information. And information is always valuable to someone.
Yeah, I'm sure, but you know who they'd probably go to, right? That's what they were talking about.
Well, possibly that niece, Mary Dunn. But you never know. Mrs. Dunn might have a will, and she shrugs.
If not, though, maybe that might be a better place to start looking.
Indeed. That's very true. I wonder if Mr. Sweets might be aware of the inheritance situation. I'll have to put a feeler out next time he's around. Ask him about it.
Sure enough. I'll keep an ear open.
I always appreciate your ears, Albert, she says, and she kind of leans over and gives him like a playful touch.
Oh, yeah. Alright, well, let's hope there's no mess down at the bar. I suppose we best get back to it, huh?
Yeah, with Kate and with Clem still being a mite dizzy, I think she broke 3 glasses the last time we lit a tin bar.
Yeah. Not the quickest to restock those as well, so I'm happy to keep as many as we can.
Yeah, well, I reckon we better head down.
Albert gives a nod and gets a move on.
You head down to the bar, and everything seems okay down there currently. Doc, do you have anything else you would like to do?
No, I have to bring this this dead ass body back to my place and probably start prepping it, but would cut it short. Probably just do the bare necessities. Head back to the Jewel at some time, partake in France.
Yep. Well, I think the rest of this session will be in the jail, so you can stick around if you want, or you can split if you want to, unless there's something else that happens.
Are we doing the Clover Gang tonight?
Yes, there will be some Clover Gang stuff.
Okay.
So that is up to you guys what you want to do. But gonna flip over to the jail. As Sticky Joe awakens.
Yeah, see, now all I need to do is make have me run one of the characters in the gang, right?
Yeah.
And then have
be completely
a standoff between Nelson
and yourself
and the gang in the Jewel, and it'll be perfect.
Yeah.
With Albert sitting behind the bar with a shotgun. It'll be great.
In the jail, Sticky, you are here, correct? I'm assuming.
I am here.
Yeah, you're super low as usual. Please stick your mouth on your tiny microphone.
Oh, let me Hello?
Hey.
Hey.
A little bit better.
Alright. Let me see if I can turn you up.
Talk about conservatism.
I said turn you up. Up.
Let me see if I can increase my outbound here.
Yeah, try it on Discord at least, because I have you cranked and you're still pretty low.
Okay, never mind. My output's on maximum.
You sound okay.
It just got a bit better then.
Yeah, usually just what the problem is, I've noticed sometimes is like everybody else is loud and you're kind of not, so it just kind of...
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I might just have to turn everything else down, up my computer volume, and leave him up.
Yeah. Alright, let's... So, Sticky, you are laying in a cot, and you hear voices in the adjoining room and as you awaken from your nap.
Joe is none too happy about being in jail, but it's also a familiar place that he has been over the course of his life, both in the military and afterwards. And he kind of lays there staring up at the ceiling, hands behind his back, thinking to himself and singing a little song. And as he hears the voices, he gets up and goes over and tries to listen to what they're talking about.
What are the two of you currently talking about? It's probably been 10 minutes after the doc left, something like that.
Maybe the bounty and what Mary do with it.
Yeah, so
yeah, Nelson's happily sipping away at the whiskey.
Yeah,
probably listening.
So I guess you hear them talking about the bounty and how they are going to go into business with each other at a horse farm. That's kind of the gist of what you hear.
Sticky kind of files that tidbit of info away and just kind of starts singing loudly enough for them to hear to know he's awake. He's like, oh, so I'll sing farewell to Carlingford and farewell to Greenore, and just keeps going on until they acknowledge that he's awake.
Yeah, Sticky might not probably see it from where he is, but Mary definitely notices Nelson's face drop and go much more dour and almost a little bit angry even.
How can you be singing in there?
Hell if I know.
Oi! Is that horse thief in there?
Mary
Both
looks at
his eyes are
Nelson. Look, Nelson, when he showed up, I know his intention was to drag me back, but he said there was things he wanted to tell me, and he didn't seem keen on saying it in front of you. There's things I gotta know, and if he can tell me, I gotta try. I think I'm gonna go back there and talk to him.
Yeah, Nelson kind of looks back there a bit and back to Mary. I don't know, Mary. He's dangerous, all right?
Oh, he don't seem that dangerous to me. Not behind them bars without any weapons.
Yeah, I don't know. Tongue of a snake, maybe. I'm not sure.
Well, even if he is dangerous, he somehow gets a hold of me, well, you'll be right out here.
Yeah, sure enough. Just you stay beyond those bars, although, right? Keep a good ways back, and I'll listen in.
All right, then. And she walks into the next room.
Nelson kind of scoots his chair over kind of a wall away, pretty much, kind of just down the hall a bit so they can hear the conversation, but not in plain view of Joe.
Mary stalks into the room, shutting the door most of the way, but not all the way. And she walks over to where Joe is, singing his song, leans back against the wall with her arms folded across her chest, just kind of glaring at him. Well, what you have to say about Free Yourself?
As Mary enters the room and closes the door most of the way, Sticky kind of looks at the door and kind of gives a devilish smile. This isn't his first time in the jail, and he's not a moron. And he just continues singing as she's standing there. And when I was young and in my prime, I wandered wild and free. He kind of approaches the bars of the cell and rests his elbows on the horizontal bars and motions her to come a little closer.
Mary will look at the door, look back at Joe, and she'll come a little closer, but not where he could reach out and grab her or anything.
Oh, now don't be afraid of old Joe. What do you think I'm going to do to a nice young lady like yourself?
Well, you sure ain't gonna run me down with your horse, 'cause I killed it. And I'm still mad about that.
For someone who loves horses and dreams of opening herself up a horse ranch, kind of seems odd that you shot one like that.
Yeah, I'm thinking back on it now and thinking maybe I shot the wrong target, but she shrugs. I guess that was just a failure of judgment on my part.
Oh, really? Why would you have shot that deputy? I'm curious.
Mary,
Playing dumb.
yeah, Mary isn't sure whether he's making fun of her or making a joke, and she sort of half smiles, half frowns. I weren't talking about Nellie. Talking about you, dum-dum.
Nellie, isn't that a girl's name?
Mary, go ahead.
He gives her a wink and kind of brings his hand up and does like the little finger motion. He's like, oh, don't worry, girl. I won't bite you very hard. Come closer to old Joe.
That would take a big persuasion roll, I think.
Alrighty.
I was gonna say, should I do like a perception roll or something for Nelson to kind of
I
listen?
mean, you can
in or
you can
whisper
hear
and
what they're saying so far. When if whispering occurs, then sure, but
stuff? Cool.
Let's find persuasion.
it's under communications.
You get your
You
ass
know.
over here, bitch.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't know what I would resist that with. Maybe vigilance.
Yeah,
probably.
vigilance. Yeah,
Probably.
usually vigilance.
And that, I mean, I'll roll it, but that's high enough that that's highly
Unless you
unlikely.
guys want to do a full intrigue or something.
Might be interesting to do it, but
Let's see how
Just for
close you
something,
Imagine
just for
it
something
always.
like this, I don't know that it's necessary, but
right. Where is it?
what's that? Vigilance? It's under
Oh,
will.
there.
Willpower.
There we go.
Here comes the 51.
Yeah, it's a good roll, but nothing compared to his. So Mary just has this soft spot for Joe ever since he saved her horse, and she's really just doesn't believe at all that he means to hurt her, and so she comes forward a little more, not like right against the bars, but close enough that he could definitely touch her or talk quietly, and she'd hear it. What do you want?
Joe kind of tips his hat backwards so he can get his face close to the bars and kind of whispers, "Now, I'm no expert when it comes to tying up rope, but when you tied my hands, those were quite loose. Even more disturbing is when you put that knife down my pants. Care to explain?"
She says, whispers back, "I don't know what you're talking about." Looks to the side. "If I did that, that was some sort of oversight."
"Oversight indeed. What do you want me to do with your little girlfriend? Stab him a few times?"
"You better not." "Look," she's whispering, I don't want to see you dead. Way I see it, I owe you a bit. Even with Rosie in the mix. Dang it, you should hang."
"Oh, Rosie, that was a poor accident.
"That weren't no accident. You just ran her right down."
I was trying to get her and get her back to Dawn Manor, just like Jess asked me to. Unfortunately, she zigged when she should have zagged, and I ran her over."
I would actually have maybe Mary. Can she roll like animal handling or something? Because
And see how big of a
you could
force-
roll deception, but this wouldn't just be a lie. This would her being able to like observe his behavior and see if that was factual.
Yeah, I think that would be fine.
Actually, I think that's probably right. Animal handling's different, right? That's not horses.
Animal handling could be horses, but it's more the care of them and that sort of thing.
Right. I'll roll right. I think it's the same anyway.
Yeah, you maybe, but you doubt just the way he's coming off anyway, and he rode straight forward, didn't slow down, all that stuff, right?
I don't know if that's what you're telling yourself, but I saw what I saw, and you done run her straight down. You didn't try to move to the left or to the right. You didn't reach down for her at all. That was all in cold blood, and I suggest that if you want to talk to me anymore, you start being straight with me. I saw what I saw, and I'm still talking to you, ain't I?
"That you are, but if I'm gonna be straight with you, why don't you be straight with me? Being a little bit vague on the old ties on my hand. Why don't you tell me what you're really doing? You feel a little guilty. Didn't want me to see old Joe behind these bars."
She shrugs. "So what if I don't? I'm just a stupid girl. Everybody says so."
"Could you tell me when I said so?"
And she
In fact,
stops
I
a
think-
bit at that. I reckon you never did.
In fact, I think just the other day it was me getting in between you and Miss Jessa and protecting you from her, making her promise she wouldn't hurt that horse of yours. A horse that's very much okay, if I might add.
I don't know if I believe that.
Why would I lie?
I don't know. I don't understand any of this. I don't understand why you did what you did and why Aunt Jessa sent you after me in the first place, unless what Rosie was saying was true.
Oh, what was that two-faced little bitch saying to you?
Some pretty bad things. Things about Jessa, and she pauses for a minute. Some minors.
Minors.
That's a deception. So, I mean, definitely she's holding something back, but you'd have to roll detect lies.
Let's see how bad this lie is.
Yeah, her lying, I would say, oh, yeah, you buy it.
She's a better liar than she is.
You just think she doesn't have the wherewithal to lie, so you just kind of believe it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll be honest, I don't know much about the miners, but I do know she's suffered greatly these last few months. Tell me how you would feel if first your husband dies, and then a bunch of people tried to kill you. You were in the mine that day, and who knows what else they're trying to do to her. Maybe they're trying to kill her. Did you ever think maybe Rosie somehow was bought out by him, or convinced to help him take over the mines?
Mary says, no, I never thought of that. That seems far-fetched. But all Rosie did was help me get out after Aunt Jessa locked me in my room for no good reason. I'm a grown woman, you know. And she stole my damn horse. Oh, Bean said it again. She stole my horse, and then she lied about it. What sort of a person does that?
She stole your horse? Where did she take it? Because I'm pretty sure when I showed up, your horse was staying in the stables at Dunn Manor.
She done told Nelson that I runned off with it. And she done told Nelson and that new sheriff that it were her horse. And she damn well, she knows it's mine.
I think she knows that she knows. But did you ever think maybe she was looking out for you? Maybe there was a little family squabble, and she didn't want the townsfolk to hear about it. Tell me, why did you run off? What caused you to get so angry that you left the house?
She locked me in my room, and she would not let me out. And I am a grown woman who is free to come and go as she pleases. I'm not a prisoner. And I am not going to marry some fancy-pants rich boy just because it's going to help her. And I've made up my mind about that. And she crosses her arms. And she actually starts to get a little loud at the end of that. Nelson would probably overhear that for sure.
Oh, so she's a little mad that you embarrassed her in public, maybe. Maybe she was trying to help settle things down. I'm not saying you have to go and marry the man, but did you ever think she was a little cross with you doing that in public?
Oh, I know she was cross with me. It wasn't just that she was cross about, but that don't give her no right. I'm not some slave.
Oh, I know that. You're far too pretty to be a slave, but I can tell you that maybe she just wanted you to sit and stew for a little bit and think about what you did before talking about it in the morning. Did you ever consider that? You know as well as I do, she can be quite stubborn.
Well, maybe she can sit and stew, she says, and crosses her arms again.
Tell me, after all these years living with Jessa, did she ever throw you out? Did she ever turn you away?
Oh, I ain't been living with her for that long, just since my pa died. That's been less than a year. But even before that, she was always pretty nice to me. That's why I'm having such a hard time with all this.
And just maybe, with all these things boiling up and me coming to tell her that her brother, the one that she loved most out of her whole family, had died in the war, and I was the first person to tell her. Don't you think maybe all of those things piled up together drove her a little bit over the edge, and she just needed some time?
She shrugs. Well, maybe. Still don't make what she did right, or all right, or in any way right. And I want my horse back.
Well, that's what I was trying to do until your little girlfriend got in between us.
She glares at him a little bit. Maybe you should just not talk about Rosie, because that ain't gonna do your case any good.
Oh, I was talking about Nellie, not Rosie.
Nellie's just trying to do the right thing. He always does the right thing.
Oh, yes,
He's
I remember in the war they said trying to steal a horse in the middle of the night and not announcing yourself, that was always the right thing.
You can't steal something that belonged to you, and I'd signed it over fair and square.
Oh, so trespassing in the middle of the night. What's that?
He were just getting a horse out of a stable. Don't make it out to be something it ain't.
Oh, I'm making it sound something to be very big. He drew down on one of her poor little beaner servants, and now all because you got mad at her. And instead of coming back in the morning and working it out and getting your horse if it was that bad, you sent him to do your dirty work, and now 2 people are dead as a result.
Mary just kind of purses her lips and clenches her jaw. I won't hear nothing against Nelson. He ain't never done me a bad turn.
I didn't say I was going to do anything to your little boy.
He ain't my little boy. He's just...
He sure does act like it. He's like a sick little puppy running around your feet.
She blushes at that. I'm pretty sure you got that wrong. I know I ain't anything to look at. He's just, like I said, he's trying to do the right thing.
Oh, sweet Mary, you may dress a little boyish, but you're all woman whether you want to admit it or not. You better best be careful, or pretty soon he's going to be humping your leg like a little puppy if you're not careful.
She blushes even more and says, you better stop talking to me like that. It ain't right.
Talking like what? The truth?
Like we're in some sort of a saloon.
Oh, I'd much rather be in a saloon than here right now. Playing the piano, drinking some beer, having a shot of whiskey or two. Not that cheap American shite. Some good Irish whiskey.
Well, we got some whiskey out there, she says, and she kind of smiles evilly.
It's not very nice. Now tell me, what were you two talking about there out in the... Something about a horse ranch.
Yeah, talking about what I'm going to do with the bounty money.
Oh, do you really think there's any money?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I ain't handing you over till I get some.
Well, you might be in for a wait. Those boys, those Buffalo soldiers, they're out for revenge. There ain't no law behind it. This is mob justice.
Well, you can hope and pray. 'Cause I ain't gonna get swindled.
Oh, if I've learned a few things over the years, it's the mighty Jesus looks out for old Sticky.
She just kind of scoffs and shakes her head. You are what my pa would call a piece of work. I still don't know what to make of you.
Why don't you come closer and find out?
Yeah, with that earlier persuasion roll, I'll just go with that. She'll come a little closer, but she set her pistol down on the ground before he goes closer, so you don't have a chance to really grab it.
He kind of leans in and smiles and I've got a better idea. Instead of waiting around for those burrheads to give you money that's not there, why don't you see about helping Joe get out? It might get worth your while.
She looks him up and down. Are you telling me you got some secret fortune I haven't heard about?
Oh, there's always money. The question is, how soon does it take for me to get my hands on?
As you guys are talking, Nelson, you're probably kind of frustrated that you can't hear what's going on, but there's a new knock at the door.
Yeah, Nelson gets up, and kind of taps the door that leads back to them so that Mary can hear, and then he heads up to answer the door.
When you answer the door, a fellow that you literally have never seen in your life is standing there. He's an older guy with a top hat. He's got a long mustache and goatee. Well, hi there, he says.
Hello. Who might you be?
Oh, I'm Bill. I was wondering, I heard you had a man in here named Sticky Joe. Real ugly cuss.
Yeah, Nelson kind of looks the guy over. Is he armed or anything? Or?
Oh yeah, he has a gun on his hip.
Yeah. Nelson kind of looks him up and down, and I think they said his name was something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering, can I go talk to him? Just go see him? I'm furious with him. He stole something off me.
What do you mean?
Oh, I know him from way back. He's an honor cuss. I'm quite looking forward to seeing him hang, just to tell you the truth. Here, you can have this. And he takes off his gun belt and passes it over. I ain't gonna shoot him. Hangman should get his due.
Yeah, I suppose fair enough, but would Nelson know if this is like something that should be allowed or not?
I mean, I think you can let people talk to prisoners. There's no rule against that.
Yeah. If the guy hands over his pistol and it doesn't look like he has anything else, then Nelson kind of nods. Yeah, I suppose. Although if you know anything more, I suppose that would be helpful too. If you could let us know about that.
Oh, I don't know. I heard he ran over some poor girl or something. I don't really have any information about that, sir. Just that I know he's a damn liar and cheat and ugly son of a gun.
Yeah. Well, if you know anything else, 'cause I mean, really, we don't know much about the fella, so that would be useful.
Well, I don't really know much. Let me go talk to him a spell.
Nelson kind of a bit curious, but he kind of gives the guy a nod and starts to lead him back. Sets the he'd kind of keep the gun belt on it in his other.
Yeah.
His right hand over by his pocket with the pistol.
Yeah, as this old guy sees Mary, he looks up at her and he's like, "Woo! Well, hello, miss."
She kind of tips her hat at him. Sir?
He reaches out for your hand. His hands are extremely thin and calloused. Well, let me make your acquaintance. I'm Bill. Bill Taylor.
I'm Mary Dunn, she says, and reaches out and takes his hand in her calloused firm grip.
He smiles. He's missing one of his front teeth. Well, you are just the prettiest thing I have ever seen, ma'am.
She blushes and shakes her head. I sure wish people would quit saying that. You know, a lie is so much more believable when it's based on the truth. Even just a smidge of it.
Well, what do you want me to say? you know this old rascal in the jail here?
I've made his acquaintance, she says.
Damn, he is ugly, I tell you. What do you think there in the jail cell there, Sticky?
He kind of looks at Bill and kind of trying to suppress a smile and looks over at Mary and chuckles and he goes, "Oh, don't forget what I tell you. The Lord works in mysterious ways. But it's okay to be old. Or I'd rather be ugly than old."
Well, if you're old, that means you're quick.
Or it just means no one ever bothered paying attention to you.
Bah! He kind of grunts and he's like, well, I'm gonna talk to this man here real quick. Can I get just a smidge of privacy, maybe?
No.
Yeah, Nelson kind of shakes his head. Yeah.
Okay, well,
We can wait here.
all right.
I mean,
He walks over to Joe and looks up at him. He's like, well, you haven't changed much since last time I saw you.
Oh, I can't believe you're still alive. I think Father Time would have caught up with you by now.
Not quite yet, buddy. Not quite yet. Well, I just wanted to see you in this sorry place. He's like looking around the room a bit. Well, you got a set of bars. You ain't getting out of here anytime soon. Not until the hangman comes, I'd say.
Oh, I suppose if the hangman's coming, he better bring his friends, right?
Well, I think he's got 2 or 3.
Oh, you're gonna need at least 2 or 3 to get old Sticky Joe up on that news.
can Nelson do any kind of roll to see if like this seems sketchy or not?
You can do
I'm not rolling because Mary doesn't.
you can do
He's supposed to know
perception.
this.
You can do perception.
Right, yeah. He's supposed to have an idea of the kind of operations that should be going down here, but I mean, personally, I know exactly what every single word of it. I'm like, oh, okay, but I'm not sure Nelson would catch on.
Yeah. He just says, well, I don't know. There's Texas and then ugly women. You know what I mean? They'll probably all watch you hang. And
Well, I'm only really concerned about the pretty ones, and he gives Mary a look.
well, I don't know. Not sure I can say anything about the pretty ones.
Well, that's because they don't have anything nice to say about you, old Bill.
Well, shit. Hopefully, I'm gonna have a nice fat purse. I can buy 'em all.
Oh, well, I heard there's a fancy little whorehouse down the way. It's called the Jewel. Why don't you take those earnings of yours and go give yourself a treat, since that's the only way a lady will ever touch you. Isn't that right, Mary?
Mary just says, I wouldn't know nothing about that, and looks really embarrassed.
Well, she's as plumb red as an apple. Don't do her that way, Sticky.
Oh, I can't help it. She's a nice one. She's one of the nicest people I've met since I've been here.
Mary just glares at Joe. That's the meanest nice thing anyone's ever said to me. She just kind of storms out of the room.
Yeah,
Sticky
Bill
laughs.
looks over to Nelson. He's like, I'd just shoot this one if I were you.
Oh, he's got a little dandy grip. I'm not too worried about him. He's a little fan.
Yeah, you say that.
You gonna let-
You weren't too keen on it last time.
You gonna let him talk to you like that, boy? I'd smack him.
Oh, the only reason he talks tough is he's got Mary there. One of the best shots I've seen in quite some time. One of the best ones I would have said during the war. Would have made a fine sniper, she would have. That's why this
Nelson
little
actually
Nelly
kind of
girl
has
talks.
he actually kind of has a far off look, and he's, yeah, I guess you're not wrong on that part, at least.
Well, she's got it all then. She got the looks and she's got the aim.
From outside the room, Mary says, quit talking about me.
Oh, sorry.
Bill says, excuse me, Joe says loud enough to Bill. Oh, you know, it's quite a shame when she has to go, but I love to watch her leave. Kind of laughs.
Bill's scratching.
Mary
His
just,
fist on the bar.
you can probably just imagine Mary grinding her teeth in the next room.
Bill just says, well, I'm going to let you go there, boy. I will enjoy you on the scaffold, though. But listen, I heard about there's 4 leaves on a clover, not just 3.
Oh, that's weird, because I found one with 5 once. It was rare. Almost as rare as the Colorado Beauty.
Well, he scratches the back of his head. Well, let's just talk about 4. Do you need 4? 4 clovers?
I think it's the 4 leaves are the lucky one.
Yeah, well, I'll let you think about that. 'Cause I don't know, tomorrow I think you're gonna go someplace deep, deep down.
Yeah, Nelson's kind of watching the whole thing a bit confused, kind of raises an eyebrow, but...
Down to hell, you see. Hell.
Where all the clovers are.
I know. I'm sitting here dying in person, but Nelson has no fucking idea.
Right. 2 most clueless people on the earth, gardening people.
Oh, the Lord isn't done with sticky job. But I'll tell you what, I'll think about what you had to say in this cell. He kind of like backs away, maybe to a corner of the room, kind of implying where.
Yeah.
And he knows where the conversation is.
Yeah.
Implying where a good spot would be.
Bill just says, well, I'd stay away from that window if I was you. I hear there's buffalo soldiers. They're going to come stick you with a pitchfork. Straight from hell.
The day I'm concerned about what a piece of property has to say is the day I start talking to me horse.
Well, we'll see about that, I guess. I would like to see you under a little bit of pressure. Just a little bit, make you sweat.
Oh, I think I've been in a little bit of pressure once or twice before. New Mexico, I think, once. That worked out well for old.
Well, I don't know. Anyway, he turns around and kind of rubs his stomach. I'm mighty hungry. I think I will get over to that Jew.
I heard.
Kind of a... Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say. Oh, why don't you go down there? They have one of those ice chests. They have red snapper in there. It's delicious.
He raises his eyebrows. He's like, I think you got me confused with somebody else, but well, I'm gonna leave you now, boy. I'll probably see you hang tomorrow.
Sounds good to me.
I'd say just a bit before lunch.
That's good. I'll be about famished right around then.
Yep. He looks to Nelson. He's like, well, thanks. I'm gonna head out. That jewel sounds mighty appetizing. This fella's just, it's got my eyes almost bleeding, you see.
Yeah, Nelson kind of looks back and forth between them and kind of gives the guy a nod. Yeah, well, like I said, if you know nothing about the fella, if you could come on through sometime and let us know what's going on with him.
Well, I don't think I noticed. He used to run with a group. They were all friendly guys, if you know what I mean. Too friendly.
My.
He wipes his brow and he shakes it. He's like, he's an outlaw, all right. Real rapscallion.
Well, alrighty. Well, best of luck to you, I suppose.
You too. Can I have my sidearm?
Yeah, and he'll hand it to him over by the door.
He smiles and he's like, well, I'll see you both tomorrow.
Mary gives him a wave.
Yeah, Nelson kind of raised an eyebrow. Yeah, we'll see if he hangs that soon. I'm not so sure about that.
Oh, well, you should tell.
Man's gotta have a try.
Oh, yeah, that is true. That's true. Well, he takes his hat and tips it, and he's like, see you later.
Yeah, Nelson nods his own hat at him and closes the door.
Mary goes over to the door that Sticky Joe's in. And,
before she heads in, Nelson kind of reached for her and pulled her shoulder a bit. So, what are you talking about in there? He's kind of keeping his voice low.
she shuts the door. Well, it's the strangest thing. He's ain't trying to really defend himself so much as Aunt Jessa.
Yeah, Nelson kind of looks a bit puzzled at it. I don't know. The whole thing's really odd. I mean, I don't think there would be no defending him anyway.
That's true. We saw what we saw. But still, why waste your breath? He has got me thinking. Nelson, I'm so mixed up about Aunt Jessa. I don't know what to believe.
Yeah, Nelson kind of shakes his head. Hell, I don't know. But I know he said she sent him, right? Sent him to do those things. Rosie certainly seemed to believe that too.
Yeah, he said that Rosie was one of the folks, well, that she was in league with them folks trying to kill Aunt Jessa.
That doesn't change nothing.
Not what he did, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, what's going on out there?
What do you mean?
And looks toward the door. Oh, it says you both hear arguing outside?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You kind of... Sounds like Bill, you said?
Yeah. You recognize that guy's voice pretty from just hearing it.
Yeah, pretty clearly.
And the other one's a deep voice. You don't recognize it exactly. But after a while, the arguing stops and another knock on the door. Doom, doom, doom. Pretty hard.
And Nelson seems a little bit concerned, raises an eyebrow, and kind of motions for Mary to go over back by the table.
Mary grabs her rifle, and she'll actually go station herself, if maybe behind the table in case she wants to get cover.
Yeah, that's kind of what he was implying, really. He's kind of gun rack and everything's over there, and he heads over and answers the door and pulls it on open cautiously.
As you open the door, let me get some music. As you open the door, standing there is Captain Eugene Walker. He says, "Deputy, you got the prisoner, the outlaw in here?"
No. Oh. You were, and I would have heard about him and the name and everything.
Yeah,
right?
you just know he's one of the leader of the Buffalo Soldiers.
Yeah, seeing him, Nelson actually kind of relaxes a bit and tips his hat. Yeah. Good to meet you, sir. I'm Nelson Ward. He offers his hand to shake.
He shakes your hand, but he's looking over your shoulder. He looks at Mary briefly. He's like, he's here, right?
Yeah. You're the ones that were looking for him, right?
Well, definitely. I got $500 for him. Just need to round it up, and then it's whoever picked him up heard it was you.
Well, Nelson kind of thinks about it for a moment. Yes, I suppose. I mean, we can figure out that later. Now, in this kind of situation, would Nelson kind of know the proceedings with this? Would Joe have to stick around for
A local trial?
A local judge of the territory would sentence him for the Rosie thing, but this guy has a bounty for another judge, so it's kind of
up in the air which way it would go as priority?
Mm-hmm.
And did he say 500 and not 5,000?
He did say 500.
Mary pipes up. I heard that bounty was 5,000.
Well, who'd you hear that from? He just passes a bill over to you. It says 500 on it.
Psh, she says.
Yeah, Nelson kind of
makes sense. That
Can
man
Joe
do
hear
like
this?
to puff up his own importance. Because I think she heard it from Sticky, actually, when she was eavesdropping on him.
sounds about right. I don't know. Would he be able to hear? Because Mary did close the door.
I don't think he's hearing any of this.
You could probably hear
Yeah,
muffled
yeah.
voices.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Nelson kind of looks to him, kind of a conflicted look. Now, normally I'd be happy to send him on his way, but you see, he ran a woman down earlier.
Well, I'm not surprised. I suppose I can.
You know something about him, I suppose. Yeah?
Oh, I know plenty about
What
him.
he done?
Plenty. He's got a bill here for New Mexico cattle rustling. Done some other things too in his past, I think. You don't mind if I go back there and assess the prisoner, do you?
I'll go with you, she says.
Sure.
Nelson kind of thinks about it for a moment. Yeah, I suppose.
And we aren't letting him go anywhere till we get that bounty, by the way.
Oh,
Just so's you know.
I understand that. No problem.
All right.
Well, I don't know if we should see him to a local judge first, anyway. Really, after he run that woman down.
No. Who is the local judge? Mary says, looking at Nelson. I don't know about any of that stuff.
Probably somebody from Denver.
Yeah, so probably someone gets brought in, I assume. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I certainly want the mayor to have a talk with him. See how things are, preferably.
Yeah, push that right on up the chain there. Maybe the mayor would know better.
He nods and leads Walker back.
Yeah, he goes back, and
to the back room.
as he sees Sticky in jail, he's smiling at you as he kind of walks closer. Well, you look like you're in all sorts of trouble.
Sticky kind of looks to the others and smile on his face and seems somebody let the property inside. Who's letting the animals into the house again?
Nelson actually has a little bit of a scowl on his face towards Sticky.
Yeah, Eugene looks at Nelson. He's like, "Yep, Confederate soldier. See how they all are? Hateful bunch."
Yeah. And Nelson kind of looks to him and gives a nod. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I don't know if it
Yeah.
hates me worse because this uniform or my skin, or that they just are incompetent and lost the war.
I don't know, but I tend to lean on a third, I suppose.
Oh, I just find it funny that you think throwing a bunch of bodies at wave after wave, getting mowed down just because there's more of you, that somehow makes you some sort of genius when it comes to the battlefield. They didn't think nothing of you, those northern generals. They just threw you poor boys into the firing line. They didn't care.
Well, here I am, a captain in the Union Army, and here you are in a jail cell.
Oh, I'd much rather be in a jail cell than serving under some piece of crap like you.
He smiles. He walks over, like where he's staring directly at you, and he's like, "I got you now. It's been a while. You're good at running."
Oh, I'm pretty good at shooting too. Why don't you get me out of this cage and I'll show you?
Well, I don't think so. I do not think so. The only way you're coming out of here is on a noose.
Oh, I'm not too worried about that. I'm willing to bet you don't have the $5,000 to pay old Mary here, do you?
I got a 500, and that's what the bill says.
Oh, we both know you're full of shite. We both know it's 5,000. And he looks to Mary Nelson. See, this is what happens when you free them. They're already trying to rob you. That's what happens when you got the brain the size of a monkey.
Mary shrugs. Well, 500's about 499 more than I currently got.
I suppose it's well enough. Hell, I don't suppose you have one of those posters, do you, Mr. Walker?
Oh, I got this bill right here. He passes it over, and it's the one that says 500 on it.
Oh, yeah, that's the actual wanted poster.
Yeah, it's like just the bill. It's not a poster. It's just it's basically a written thing from a judge, notarized.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying like an actual like $500
No,
bill.
no.
I was
Yeah,
like-
sorry.
I was
The
like, what?
wanted bill. Uh-huh.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Nelson kind of nods at that. He's got it there.
Mary looks over his shoulder. Psh, well, that sure don't look like him.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a shave. Got a weak chin.
Nelson laughs at that.
Well, how long you think it'll be to get that money? Mary says.
Well, I'll go to the bank. They'll pass over the money, and then I'll give you the money.
Well, that sounds right as rain. Although I reckon the deputy knows things got to be done in order, so guess he'll be talking to either the sheriff or the mayor.
Yeah, I do wonder. I do have some questions, some federal union questions for this lad. I was wondering if you could give us just a spell alone.
Nelson kind of looks towards Sticky, a bit of a sour look. Kind of looks towards Walker. Probably getting his meaning to some degree. I'd be happy to, but let's sit and talk in the other room for a moment, if you would. Have a glass of whiskey, yeah?
All right.
Hey, Mary, why don't you come in here for a second? Got a little secret to tell you.
Ain't you done jabbering yet? She says, but she heads over there anyway.
Yeah, as Mary's going, Eugene kind of almost blocks her path and says, "Don't trust that boy now. He's bad news."
Have I ever lied to you, Mary? When will you realize? I have nothing but good intention.
She rolls her eyes at that and then looks at Walker. I used to be a trusting soul, but these days I don't much trust nobody. And she looks over at Nelson, except maybe that one. And then she'll just walk on by him.
Nelson has a bit of a half smile. Yeah, don't worry, Captain. I trust her. And he kind of motions towards the other room. You be careful, though, Mary. Yeah. Don't get too close to that man.
She nods. Waits for them to leave.
Yeah, he goes into the other room.
Mary will do the same thing she did before and put her weapons out of reach before getting close enough to the bars to hear what Joe has to say.
I'll tell you, when you live long enough, you make enough mistakes, some of those mistakes catch up to you. And I did some ugly things in the war, and that's why this guy's here right now. He's not here for the law, he's here for vengeance. You leave me alone with him and his lackeys, and I won't live through the night.
Well, I reckon if you don't live, I might not get my money. Don't you worry none about that.
Oh, you ain't gonna get your money anyway. You might get a pittance, but you'll be missing out on the fortune.
So you say. Well, none of this war stuff means much to me. I was born and raised out here in the territories.
Well, I know it doesn't mean much to you, but I was there. It was quite ugly. Things were done on both sides. Neither of us were proud of. Seeing people die, getting their arms ripped off, does something to a man. Like I said, I'm not very happy, but $500 might get you a little money, but it won't get you a ranch. 5,000 or more. Now that's something that could make your dreams come true.
$500 don't need to buy me a ranch. I got me a ranch. I just need to buy stock, and it sure will buy that. She sighs, looks a little bit guilty. What do you want from me, Joe? I mean, you want me to bust you out of here? 'Cause that ain't gonna happen. What would Nelson think?
Oh, I'm not too worried about what Nelson would think. I'm also not asking you to bust me out.
Well, what do
yeah.
you want?
How close is Mary?
She's leaning in at this.
He's gonna reach out and snatch her and bring her close and try to plant a big old kiss on her.
I think that at first she'd be so startled that would be like she'd pull back like a hand-to-hand.
Yeah, go ahead.
Resistance.
Go ahead and do a dodge. Go ahead and do a hot dodge versus hand to hand.
Okay.
That's fine. This here, hold on.
Hand to hand is under strength. The dodge is under agility. It's a pretty good.
Oh, he got her.
Oh, he plants with that. He plants a big old wet one on her and then lets her go and goes, "Oh, I just wanted to do that because I have a feeling these boys are gonna have their way with me. And I won't be right in the head come more. Had to have one nice little thing happen before everything goes to shite."
Mary staggers back, stunned. She kind of brings her hand up to her mouth and what the hell, Joe? And she's just blushing furiously. God damn it. Nelson was right. I can't be alone with you. And she turns around and picks up her weapons. Look, I'll do what I can.
He kind of laughs as she's flustered and picking up her guns. And I'm not asking you to do anything to hurt Nelson. I'm just asking that you do the right thing when it presents itself. And don't pretend like you didn't like it. He just laughs again.
She glares at him because she's some distance away, and that would probably be audible. And she turns around and says, "I always try to do the right thing." And then she gets to the door, and with her hand on it, she turns around and says, "I just don't always do it right." And then she opens the door to the other room.
You open the door to the other room. What are you doing there, Nelson?
Yeah, so while they were in there, Nelson would have kind of sat down and poured Captain Walker a bit of whiskey even. So, about this Joe fella. You know about him, right? You know about the things he's done?
Oh, I most certainly do.
I'm taking it something far worse than running that woman down with a horse.
Well, I'm not sure you can do much worse.
That's fair enough. But then again, we were both in the war. We know what they did. So.
Oh, yeah, this one? Well, he definitely did some bad stuff. You know about Fort Pillow? Have you heard of that?
Should I roll maybe warfare to see if he would have?
Yeah, or some sort of knowledge, whatever. Yeah, I think warfare would be good, though. That would make sense.
Yeah, I think that's probably the thing that'd be most likely for him to know it from.
Yeah, you know that there was a... correct me if I'm wrong there, Sticky, but there was a group of black soldiers, and the Confederate Army came through there, took the fort, and pretty much massacred everybody that was there.
Yeah,
Pretty much, yeah, that's the abridged version. A bunch of them came in and killed most of the black soldiers and kind of raped and pillaged, I guess, for lack of a better...
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, Nelson kind of his face darkens a little bit when he recalls the stories he's probably heard, because hearing it from war comrades, most likely in this case, it's probably sounds a lot darker even than it probably was. And he kind of nods. Yeah, I certainly have.
Well, I was there. One of the only ones to get out. And, well, this boy was there too, and he was one of them.
Yeah. Nelson's face is pretty serious still, and just as serious now. Yeah, sounds like a real piece of work, huh?
Oh, yeah. He deserves everything coming to him. Now, this bill's legit, I do have to say. But I can't say I don't enjoy this.
Yeah, I don't doubt you. Oh, my. The trouble that's coming here, it seems like. This fella.
Yep, well, I can take him off your hands. I promise I'll get you that money. But, I mean, do we really need to wait for a trial? That's going to take a long time. He's going to get found guilty anyway. You were there. You saw him run her down. Right? He's going to get hung.
Yeah.
It's your word against his. He's hanging.
Yeah, I certainly have no doubt of that. He's done plenty of wrong. Some of the other things he said that he's done. Well, others said that he'd done. The only problem, right? There's this woman he works for, right? Now, I don't know much about it, but she might have done quite a lot wrong, too, and he might know. I don't know if we could get anything out of him, but...
Have you heard him speak? You think you're going to get anything out of him? He ain't going to tell you nothing. He don't like you, I expect. You caught him? No, he don't like you. He ain't going to tell you anything. He got no respect for good people like you.
Yeah, I don't think I'll get anything either. I was hoping maybe the sheriff could, but... I don't know.
Look, Nelson. I'll take this boy off your hands. I'll get you the money. Yeah, you can be. Yeah, you're in the room listening. I'll get you the money, and we'll do away with this boy. Otherwise, there's going to be a lynch mob anyway coming. A posse. They're going to come for him too. Somebody's going to want him. I'll take him off your hands. Give you the money. He going to be gone, and then it'll be in a ditch. Everybody be happy.
Yeah, Nelson kind of considers this. So it kind of is a toss-up law-wise, so he's not really sure, because by all means, he's not wrong. The guy would probably, if everything proceeded, it would pretty much go like that. Like he said, he's not really off the mark, so...
Mary pops in. She hasn't been paying much attention until this last part, and then she says, Nelson, don't do anything that's going to come back on you.
Why would it come back on him? I'm law, he's law. I'm a federal soldier.
Yeah, well, this... I don't know about any of this, Nelson. Make sure you talk to someone who do know, like the sheriff or the mayor. Just make sure.
Nelson kind of nods. Really kind of deep in thought, kind of looking at the table more than anything. He kind of looks up towards Captain Walker. You sure? Law-wise, right? This will all get taken care of, right? If he goes with you?
Oh, absolutely. This handbill is dead or alive.
He kind of considers this. How about you do me a favor, right? You get him back there alive. Keep him alive long enough for us to send someone down to talk to him. Then we both get what we need.
Explain that you want him to do what now?
He wants this guy to keep him alive so that they can send, get the info out of him for them, essentially, right? And have it, send someone law-wise from here down before he's hung wherever they would take him to hang, right? Basically.
Yeah.
He's assuming that this guy's going to take him back to wherever the bounty's from to face justice. Right? Mm-hmm.
Well, if he makes it that far.
Nelson nods.
If you want information, you ask me the questions you want to know. I get the answers out of him. And you tell me what the answers you want. and I'll get those out of him too.
Nelson kind of shakes his head at that. I want the truth, nothing but.
I think we can do that.
What is he? He kind of reaches out a hand towards Walker as if to shake it.
He reaches out and shakes your hand with a smile.
He grips his hand very tight. You promise me you'll get what truth you can out of him about this Jessa Dunn, about all that she's done.
Jessa Dunn. I got you.
And you have it sent back to us right as soon as you have him face justice.
You got it.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Captain Walker.
I do appreciate it. You're a good lad.
Yeah, I certainly hope so.
He is.
So, Nelson will let go and stand, and alright. And he'll head into the other room, presumably with Captain Walker.
Oh yeah, he goes in with
Past
you.
Mary.
He's got a pretty big smile on his face when he comes in there, Sticky. He's like, well, it looks like this is a prisoner exchange, Sticky.
Oh, there's a surprise. Nelson, how much did you sell your soul for?
Oh, wait, you're handing him over now?
Oh, just like I said, Mary.
No. I'm going to have that money in my sweaty palm.
Yeah, Nelson looks to Captain Walker. Yeah, how about it, Walker? Can you do me a favor and run her down to the bank and all that?
Well, what time is it? I'm be guessing the bank is closed. Plus, I will make a wire though, and they will approve the transaction. I ain't taking him anywhere. He's gonna stay in town.
He can stay right here. I ain't letting this slip through my fingers. I let too much go recently.
Well, ma'am, I'm sorry.
I
I don't really know who you are. I'm a U.S. federal captain in the cavalry.
Mary looks at Nelson appealingly. You promised me, Nelson. We agreed that we weren't going to let him get swindled by anybody. This is my chance.
Ma'am, I am not going to swindle
Nelson.
you. I promise you that.
Oh, I promise you're never going to see a dime of that
Don't
money.
listen
They're
to
gonna
this.
Take me from here.
Don't listen to this heathen.
Look,
Kill me. And
what?
Take the
It's one night. What difference does one night make? The bank will be open tomorrow. Joe's not going nowhere. And we can just have all our I's dotted and our T's crossed.
Ma'am, I have been searching for this man for quite a while. Now hear me.
So one more day won't matter.
Nelson actually kind of reaches out and puts a hand on Mary's shoulder. Mary, don't worry. I'll make sure you get that 500 if I just hand it over to you myself. I've been putting away. Don't worry.
No.
When does a field hand get to tell a lady what to do? What kind of world are we living in?
Do you listen to this fool? I am a free man. I have fought for my country. I have bled for my country, which is the United States of America.
You didn't bleed enough, if I might say.
Look, Nelson, if he takes Joe don't make it to the morning, and without a living prisoner, this guy ain't got no motivation to hand over the bounty. None at all.
I am a captain in the American Union, ma'am. That's the only thing I need.
Well, I am the owner of a horse ranch without no horses.
Now, Mary, don't worry. He kind of turns to Walker. How about Walker? You can come take him first thing in the morning. You can set up a wire or whatever.
Go ahead and give me a persuasion roll.
Oh, you new two knuckleheads don't see what he's trying to do.
Can Mary roll persuasion?
Yeah.
Or intimidation, either one.
Captain Walker sighs, looking from Mary over to Nelson. He's like, all right, deputy. I trust you. You're a good lad. fought for the Union.
Thank you.
So, I tell you what. First thing in the morning, I'll send the wire tonight. I'll have a copy sent over here of what I sent. You'll know that I'm truthful in sending for the wire. And then we can go to the bank first thing. He looks to Mary. And you have your $500. And then you pass over Sticky Joe. And, well, I'll be frank with you. I'm going to shoot him in the back of the head as soon as I get him. And then the bill's collected and justice is done.
Well, that sounds like we're going to figure out exactly what we need to know, Mary says, and glares at both of them, and she...
Well, after I
turns
forgot, I'm sorry. I will question him first. You are right. I will take enjoyment out of that. I can do it right here. I don't need to go anywhere. Bars are good.
Nelson shakes his head. No. You do that on your own time, as long as we learn what we need to. But, yeah, that sounds good. Thank you, Captain Walker. It means a lot. Mary's lost a lot in this, so...
Alright, well, I'll see you tomorrow, Joe.
I'll be waiting.
He walks off. Tips his hat to Nelson. Really doesn't acknowledge Mary so much. Just kind of walks by her and out.
Yeah, Nelson gives him a nod and heads back into the other room. Presumably, we kind of nudges Mary along that way and heads through.
Yeah, she'll give Joe kind of a backward glance and then head back with Nelson.
As she glances back, he kind of gives an expression of like, I told ya. And then he just goes back into song again and thinks of something to embarrass Mary with. And it's like, oh, how nice, to kiss your beau while cuddling under the mistletoe. Just keeps going on.
She slams the door behind her.
Yeah, Nelson heads over and kind of sits down with his whiskey again, sipping at it. Oh, hell, this whole thing. It's a nightmare, I swear.
Well, sounds like it'll be over soon enough. Nelson, I ain't got no faith that fella's gonna find out what I need to know, but I gotta figure things out somehow, even if it means going back to Aunt Jess and myself.
Nelson nods. Yeah, don't you worry. We'll figure everything out with the mayor. Hopefully he'll be free by then and we can talk to him. And, well, if he has his say, never know.
Mary picks up the whiskey and she downs what's left in her glass and holds it out to be refilled.
Yeah, Nelson pours her more. And pours himself a little bit more and sips at it. Still not really all the way through a full glass, and now it doesn't look like he ever will if he keeps going at this rate after filling it.
I think we can probably end the scene with, as Nelson raises his whiskey and starts drinking it, Mary kind of blurts out, "Are you courting anyone, Nelson?"
There's a small spit of whiskey at that, and I think that is the perfect spot to cut it.
Okay. Should we do Kate and Bill?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm trying to get as much done as I can because...
That scene. That was great. That was amazing.
Poor Nelson.
Yeah, just that little spit of whiskey as the camera pans off. He was not expecting that.
And
Poor boy.
Texas Mike
do
can
whatever.
be there as well. We can actually assume that he was already there if you want.
Sure.
Let's get these guys out here. Where are you, Clover Gang? There we go. Mike has been sitting at the bar drinking, And Bill comes in. He looks kind of perturbed. He walks over to the bar, looks at Albert. Give me a whiskey. Quick. Make it a biggin.
Mike looks at Bill and takes a sip and goes, so is that good? How was it?
Well, I tell you, these colored fellers running around just ain't right.
He tips his glass. I'll drink to that.
One of them was heading into the jail. That can't be good.
Are they talking?
I
aloud
mean,
in
you
front of
yeah, basically.
Yeah, Albert is kind of always, he serves them the whiskey and everything, and he's kind of there, stone-faced as always, kind of just ears wide open, listening in on everything. Quite happy to lap up the info.
And Bills realizes, oh, yeah, Sticky told me to come talk to Kate. He looks at Albert, he's like, which one's Kate?
Oh, yeah. You know him, I take it.
No, who? Sticky Joe?
Albert,
Oh, I know he's a dumb son of a bitch. Getting me in all kinds of trouble.
Weak chin.
Weak chin, yeah, for sure. He was beardless, Mike.
Beardless? Jesus Christ.
He's
Never thought I'd see
uglier than sin.
That's fair enough.
And he kind of waves Kate over.
Kate walks over. So, business is a bit slow tonight. Are you going to liven things up for some of my girls, gentlemen?
Mike kind of stands up and does the old eyebrow straightening and goes, well, I might be able to help them.
I was hoping you'd say so. They are so lonely without proper male company. Should I bring them down here for you to admire?
Please, but we do have a little conversation to be had, I do believe, because one of our friends did suggest calling on you, and I don't think it was for the business of flesh, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I'm quite familiar with the flesh trade, if you can believe that, judging by my surroundings, and she says, looking around. But I'm glad that no one suggested that, since I am not for sale. However, and she points to the back room. If you'll be so kind as to join me, we can have a civilized discussion.
Albert would have already grabbed their firearms if they knew the rule. Otherwise, he'd ask for them then.
Yeah, Bill gives it over with a frown. Not really liking giving these over with the company in town.
Oh, nobody likes the rule, but everybody follows the rule.
Sure enough.
Fine.
Mike slams the remaining of his whiskey and slams the glass down. And I guess we can do business now and pleasure later. He turns over his pistol, as much as I don't like.
Oh, yeah.
Albert stashes him away in the lockbox, and
But don't worry. Guns away, whiskey keeps flowing. All right.
Yeah, alright, so the back room it is. Back room it is for a little chat. Come on, Mike.
yeah, Albert gives a little whistle and calls Clem over and has her. She's quite busy for Clem today.
Quite busy. Let's see. Do you have a sight on Mike? You do, don't you?
Yes.
Walter Peck is what I'm asking. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got it.
Yeah, so they go back to the back room. Bill's looking around. Well, alright, clandestine meeting, I guess, number one.
That's what we specialize in. So, who sent you?
Oh, well, I just dropped in on Joe, and he said to come talk to you.
Well, that's ballsy of him, considering, she says, rolling her eyes. What's old Joe got to say?
Well, he couldn't really say much. That whippersnapper there, Nelson, was peeking in, so I had to talk in code. And he's not very bright, so I don't know if he caught what I was putting down.
Well, I take it that you're friends of his.
He looks over to Mike. Well, that's a loose definition, ma'am.
Well,
Associates, maybe.
associates, I see. Fellow cattle rustlers.
I like to call myself a gentleman. What about you, Mike?
I'm an entrepreneur.
Small business owner.
Ah, as am I. However, there are those who might call me a whore because they don't know such big words. Would I be correct in assuming that there might be less positive words for your actual enterprise as well?
Well, if robbing things and killing things, people talk bad of it, I suppose they could talk bad about us.
Well, finally, we are talking about something real, and she motions sit down. So, is it just the two of you in town?
Oh, there's one more. Ugly little girl running around named Kim. She's tough as they come.
Well, you let your friend Kim know that she's welcome here in the saloon as well. She reaches forward to the table and picks up an ashtray that was there and some cigarettes that she'd rolled before, and she lights up. She doesn't usually smoke, but she's been feeling it tonight. So, fellas, what can I do for you? Is there something you got planned? You gonna hire Joe a lawyer?
He looks to Mike and he's like, well, I don't know what you think.
I think a banker is more his speed.
A banker. Well, I know exactly what a banker could accomplish here. Yeah. And as skilled as I am in certain things, both informational and she looks at one of the doors to one of the rooms, and in the bedroom, I can't walk through walls.
Mike can.
That's right. So to speak, I'm very good at things like that.
I see. And how do you manage this feat?
Loudly.
Ah, I see. And you have some of this noise-making devices at your disposal.
I'm able to pull off a magic trick or two. It's quite impressive to see. I think I'd be able to whip something up here in a situation like this.
And then after that, what's your plan? Let's say you manage this magic trick, as you say, and Joe is free and in your arms, and you ride off into the sunset. What then?
Normally, a performer likes an audience, but I have the feeling this performance would be the type that I don't want many people witnessing, and, well, you were recommended highly to eventually help with a situation like that.
By Joe.
Well, yeah, he said come talk to you. He wouldn't have said that otherwise.
Oh, he must be in desperate straits indeed. He's already up to his eyeballs in debt to me. I guess we can just put this on his tab.
How do you know Joe?
She looks at him and taps off a cigarette, takes another drag. Maybe if he hasn't told you, then I ain't gonna tell you either.
He probably owes her all
Suffice-
kinds of money. Comes in here, can't pay, be my guess.
I'm betting she's sweet on it.
Kate looks at him and glares a little bit.
Oh, don't mind him. He's been next too many explosions. I'm the brains of this outfit.
Well, are you planning on skedaddling out of the area after this, or are you going to hang around, see what opportunities pop up?
I guess that's mighty variable, ma'am.
Suppose it depends on how the show goes.
That's true. And let me tell you, that regardless of what Joe may have intimated, he and I are not all that close. As a matter of fact, I'm quite angry with the fella. I went to some effort to change his appearance so that he did not get caught. And what does he do? He gets himself caught. Now, I should just cut bait, but as it so happens, with you fellas here, an idea of how to turn this situation to my advantage does occur.
Do tell.
I happen to be privy to some very interesting information. Well, I know a lot of things about a lot of things, but in this particular case, I've been just sitting on it and waiting for the right people to walk through the door. And if indeed you've got some dynamite, some other resources and experience, you might be the right people.
Well, sometimes sitting on it is a good thing, but sometimes you gotta move on it if you want to make something happen. So, why don't you let us know what you're
She glared at him a little bit, not sure whether she's going to tolerate this kind of sass. You better watch your mouth, boy. And she takes another drag on her cigarette. Just so happens that I'm quite intimate with a fella who works down at the bank.
Intimate.
Well, not as intimate as you'd like, she says with a little knowing smile. But hope does spring eternal, and a man's pants is my experience. Anyway, he did let slip after a few drinks here at the saloon that they was planning a transfer coming up very shortly. I am not much of a outlaw myself, so I wasn't sure I was really going to be able to make use of this, but you fellas might be able to. Now, if I gave you the details, I would expect a full share.
Well, of course. It's only fair. What kind of transfer are we talking?
A sizable transfer to Denver.
10,000? 50,000?
Would Kate have any idea? She rolled pretty good on that.
Probably somewhere in between 10 and 20.
Oh, I estimate anywhere between 10 and 20.
That is quite appealing. Now, of course, there's a lot of law in this town, and it's just the three of us, and we're gonna have some complications along the way. If you're getting a full share, what kind of help are you offering besides information?
Well, you're getting nothing without my information.
Well, now we know.
Yeah, well, gosh, it'd be a terrible thing if word got out to that bank that, maybe they should, cease transfer for another day, another week, another month, another year. People do trust me around here.
And how many opportunities are you going to have fine gentlemen like us in the town to assist you in this training?
Oh, there is no shortage of people willing to assist me, but in this matter, the timing is quite fortuitous. My assistance is going to have to be primarily informational, and perhaps I can arrange a distraction, something to keep people occupied here in town. I'm not even sure the law is planning on accompanying this. They may have hired. Have they hired private security for this bank transfer?
They would always have private guards.
Yeah, I'm assuming that this is a private security, Pinkertons and the like, who are going to be accompanying, and not the local. As far as getting Joe out, when was you planning on doing this?
Well, I don't know, Mike. Soon.
Sooner than later, I imagine. Very soon.
Soon tonight? Soon tomorrow?
Well, I don't know that I've rightly decided.
Well, I can, perhaps. It's well known in town that I've had a beef with these Buffalo soldiers. They insulted me in my own saloon, which generally, and she stubs out her cigarette, folk don't do and live to tell about it, or at least don't live long. But with them having this victory and bringing such a hard criminal to justice, it might only be right that I offer them 3 rounds of drinks to celebrate and to make peace. Congratulate them, so to speak. I'm nothing if not a good sport. With him and whatever law in town also being invited, that young Nellie, that might make your job a little easier.
Tell me, does law have to turn their weapons over too while they're in here
I'm afraid not. My law only goes so far.
Huh.
And so far it's been to my advantage to have the law on my side.
It is mighty kind of you to offer an olive branch to these Buffalo soldiers and help them celebrate capturing such a dastardly.
Where you folks be staying? You might just wait for some sort of a signal. I might have one of my girls come out, sit on the porch wearing a pink dress, and that would let anybody who was maybe staying at the hotel across the way know that everybody was inside having a good time.
That's a mighty fine idea. What do you think, Bill?
Well, it depends on the means to the end, right? What are we gonna do? Come in guns a-blazing in here, or just go get sticky? Because
I do not want your guns in here. You're gonna go get sticky, and then you're gonna hightail it out of my town and prepare yourself to get my money.
Well, this square ain't that big, man. We go and blow the wall off the jail, they're gonna come running out.
Yeah, well,
Now, if they come running out like fish in a barrel, though.
But what if their horses, maybe their horses aren't as easy to mount as they would like, or maybe these fellows be highly inebriated, maybe even more inebriated than usual.
I hear it's pretty easy to shoot an inebriated man. What about you?
I hear that doctor, he did offer Clem some laudanum if she was getting the headaches again. Might be able to sweeten up their drinks a bit.
Well, I think that's mighty fine. Kim could maybe sit across the way, and as they come out, bang, 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 bang.
It's a mighty fine idea.
Then I and you will get the ugly fella, and then we'll skedaddle for a while.
All right.
We're busy, and we can free our friend. Associate, excuse me.
Well, in that case, we'll see how it goes. And seeing as I don't think I'll have another opportunity to benefit from this bank transfer, I'll give you the details. I won't be counting on your honor to bring me my share. I'll be counting on your sense of profit, because you screw me over on this, you ain't getting nothing else from me ever again. And I'll do what I can to make sure you hunted down and die like dogs in the street. You understand?
Ooh, she's getting me all hot and bothered, Bill.
Bill looks over. He's like, well, maybe we do have 5 clovers.
She says, I don't know what you mean by clovers, but
Well, I mean, there's this other girl that I think Sticky might be a little sweet on. Blonde girl, tall, pretty, kind of simple. But I think he's trying to tell me that she should not be harmed. But she seemed to be awful close with that deputy over there, so I don't really know what to do.
oh, that Mary Dunn.
You know?
That's Jezebel Dunn's niece. I'm not personally acquainted, but I've heard she's a nice-looking girl and helped bring Joe in. That's interesting. That's very interesting indeed. She shrugs. Well, I can invite her. I'm not sure she'll come. And I can't be bothered with all the details. Gotta leave somewhere for you boys.
Well, I don't know. I think he'd be mighty cross if we accidentally killed her.
Then don't kill her, dum-dums.
Well, if she has a rifle pointing at us, what do we do? Let her shoot us? I don't think so.
Kate.
She ain't lost. She can't keep her gun. She's inside here. Ain't that right, Miss Kate?
Well, that is true. She would not be allowed to carry on. It's written on the plaque downstairs.
Well, time for a regalia then. Maybe don't make it so, I don't know, debaucherous.
I will try to restrain myself. Although I can't say that anyone else will appreciate my effort.
Well, I do like me some debauchery, but, well, I don't know about that girl. She seemed a little grumpy.
I think you let Sticky Joe deal with her.
Well, yeah. Alright, well, I do like killing people, so my guns are ready. Fastest gun here, guaranteed.
All right, then. She says, now listen close. And she's going to lean forward. And she says, because I ain't writing this down. And she's going to give them the information on the bank transfer. And she'll make sure that they have it down. And she'll say, now, you can either hang around and enjoy the pleasures of my house, not for free, but maybe at a discount, since we ain't so busy. Or you can get out. But either way, keep in mind, this is my town. And in my town, you pay for sex. You understand? Don't get carried away. If something happens to any of the women in this town, I mean, other than getting shot, well, you'll have me to answer to.
Oh, don't you worry about that. I'm mighty gentle with the lady.
Well, that's nice to hear, because the last man who wasn't, well, his hand's going to be floating in a jar soon, if it's not too rotted out in the forest already.
Well, yeah, I'm just happy to take a nap. I'm getting old.
Well,
Get
nothing
you
makes a
are.
softer pillow than a nice pair of breasts.
I like big pillows. Can you help me out with that?
We've got all kinds of pillows here. She stands up and she'll, start calling the girls out.
As you call the girls out, Bill and Mike are watching on the couch, taking a little sidebar before they plan the actual escape of Sticky Joe. And I think unless anybody has anything else, we can stop there.
Yeah, Albert, kind of stone-faced as ever, but looking mighty concerned towards Kate.
Yep. All right. So before they retire to the beds with the girls, Kate had another task for them. So let's just go ahead and roleplay that out.
And Kate says, "Oh, my goodness. Speaking of fortuitous timing," and she pulls Bill aside. "I know you're tired, but can I bend your ear for another minute?"
Well, yeah, I suppose.
And she pulls him over and says, "There's a doctor in town. Just one doctor." And she kind of describes where he lives. "He's a good fellow. He's a friend of mine. You understand? A friend."
A friendly
And,
doctor. Good to have
that's
those.
right. And he is so friendly. He's always welcoming visitors. He was asking me particularly if I knew anyone who wanted to come visit. And you see, he's got someone staying with him who has become inconvenient to him. And he'd love to get rid of this fella, but, he's a doctor, and considering his oath, it just wouldn't be appropriate. But, well, I don't know if you know who Joe works for, or has been working for around here, but...
Oh, we had a meeting with her. She is a nice lady. He looks over to Mike.
She is definitely a lady.
Kate says, "I'm not sure on either of those counts. However, I do know that she would be pleased to see this guest of the doctor's disappear."
Well, I have just the person. So I guess, how tall do you think she is, Mike?
Oh, she couldn't be a lick over 5'4".
Yeah, she's unpleasant, but she'll do it. No problem.
Actually, now that I think on it, I think the doctor's still here. His place might be empty at the moment, except for this guest.
Well, yeah, I'll go talk to her. She'll sneak up. I don't know what she'll do to him. She might violate him. She's crazy, but
She ain't right.
Yeah, definitely not right.
At least he'll go happy. What can I say?
Yeah, she'll make sure that he stops breathing one way or another.
Well, she sounds like an interesting gal. I'll have her stop by sometime and say hello.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good idea, but alright, I'll get on that. I guess I'll meander back out into the thoroughfare and find her. She's probably drunk somewhere.
All right, you're welcome to come back when you're done. And with that, she just kind of shoos them away.
Yeah, he goes outside and looks for Kim, send her on her task, and that's it.